Hey friends and revolutionaries, back again to take a look at a very cool Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack in honor of the new Green Lantern movie that's come out, which as of this time I haven't actually seen yet. Came out a few months ago. Didn't know when I'd ever get a chance to really get a look at it, but I figured now was the time. Now or never. So what we've got here is we've got the DC Universe, well, of course the Toys R Us exclusive DC Universe Hal Jordan and his Constructs of Will versus the, please let's don't get in a nerd fight, THAAL Sinestro and his Constructs of Fear. Undoubtedly a way for Matty to basically say to all those people who would send emails and, you know, post on their message boards and do videos who would always say, why don't they do a construct pack? Why don't they do they have a weapons pack for Masters of the Universe, why don't they do a construct pack for Green Lantern? Well, I think this is Matty's attempt to kind of give us something along those lines. But taking a look at them, yeah, I really got to say, I'm kind of leaning on the side of disappointment, actually. But we'll get it open and take a look. You know, maybe it's better than I think. On the packaging, totally different kind of packaging than we've seen with any other DC Universe 2-packs to date. I mean, completely different. Definitely tries to convey the Green Lantern, or the Lantern, not necessarily the Green Lantern, but the Lantern image. When you look at the window at the top, you can kind of see how it has the Lantern, you know, on the sides, kind of the round center. Even on the bottom, which actually I think is kind of cool, is that you can kind of see it's like the Green Lantern symbol stretched apart. That actually I think is kind of cool. But overall, I think the packaging is, as involved as it is, it's a little ambitious. and honestly, it's nice, it's different, but I'm glad they didn't try to stay with these kind of 2-packs. You know, I'm glad they didn't try and go overboard with the packaging like this, because I do think they went a little overboard with it. The design on it, it does have the traditional DC Universe explosion in the back, kind of like the modern ones do. The one side in green for Hal, even with his constructs. Other side for yellow, of course, Sinestro with his. And just trying to convey kind of the image of the comic, where it has Sinestro and Hal Jordan facing off with the split down the middle for the colors. An interesting tribute to a Silver Age issue, where you see again the same kind of idea of Hal Jordan and Sinestro squaring off. Hal Jordan giving his kind of, well, his familiar oath, and Sinestro giving kind of a warped version of it. But, you know, reprints of these two comics, a reprint of each of these issues, packaged inside, actually would be very cool. I'm not holding my breath, but it would be great if they took each of these two issues and did a reprint and packaged them inside. That would totally sell me on the pack. I don't think they did. Here we have DC Universe, a battle of will versus fear, where we have Hal Jordan in his stock green trunks, the kind of the flat green trunks. And then Sinestro, and again, what I'm sure is kind of just a stock photo, you know, minus his collar. And then the write-up says simply, Hal Jordan and THAAL Sinestro may have started as good friends, but they become infamous enemies. Corrupted by power, THAAL Sinestro was banished to the antimatter universe acquired and returned with a new yellow power ring, able to render the Green Lantern power rings useless. While the villainous Sinestro is fueled by fear, the utterly fearless Hal Jordan proves to be a formidable rival. And actually I like that right there. Colors and decoration may vary. Yeah, I'd say. In a big way. But yeah, that's a quick look at the figures in the pack. We'll go ahead and pop them open and have some fun. Be right back. Alright, well, starting things off, we're going to take a look at Sinestro first. Sinestro being from one of the early DC Universe waves, Solomon Grundy Wave 2? Was it Wave 2 or was it Wave 3? I think it was Wave 2. Oh, getting old. But yeah, very, very nice to have this Sinestro again. He was released with Hal Jordan in the Wave, and Hal Jordan went on to become a part of the All-Star series, so there was plenty of opportunities to get a hold of him, but they've never done villains in the All-Star Wave, so this 2-pack is actually a very lucky find, something I was really glad to get, because it gives me a chance to get this Silver Age Sinestro, kind of his Legion of Doom colors. Very, very sweet. And very nice too. It's something where, you know, when I look at him, from what I can remember, as far as the reviews I've seen other people do of the original Sinestro, this one is actually a bit nicer. His blue is very sharp, very bright. The black, not nearly as dusty or as kind of washed out as some people have said. But there's really no difference. I mean, he's still got his same kind of collar. You know, still got the metallic painted on the wristbands. The biggest difference I can find, and there's two things about this that make me think that this is not really the original sculpt for Sinestro. Two things. First off, when you look at the boot, you can kind of see at the top of the boot where there's this metallic paint line at the top of his boot. On the original figure, it was actually sculpted. There was actually a kind of rim or a edge of the boot that was painted. Not so here. Also, when I was taking a look at him, particularly around, you know, the legs, I kind of started to wonder if they may have reused it for Deadman. So I got him out and took a look, and sure enough, for pretty much the waist down, not counting the feet, but from the waist down, this was from Deadman. His abdomen is the same, the top part of the torso, everything except for the chest, which for Deadman is a completely original sculpt, but even on the arms, not necessarily the shoulder, but on the arms, reuse of the Deadman sculpt. So whether or not the original Sinestro sculpt was used for Deadman, or if something happened to it and they had to use Deadman sculpt for this Sinestro, I'm not sure. But considering that the Sinestro that they put in the Green Lantern 5-pack was basically a Hal Jordan body, I think this would have been a good opportunity for them to kind of scale up Sinestro, just do him in a regular DC Universe Heroes body, you know, male body, and try and stay away from this smaller, kind of slender Sinestro. Yes, it is accurate to the character, really. The other one is a little bit too big, and this is the way he was originally released. But you know, we already have now a bigger Sinestro. If you're going to get the chance to do him again, I would say do him in a bigger size, just so there's some consistency. But that's just me. On his articulation, the head does go left and right. Arm comes up, out again, twist to the bicep, elbow, and wrist. He's got his crunch. Legs come up, out, twist to the thigh, knee, and foot. Oh, and of course, Sinestro with his yellow ring. Which, speaking of the ring, this is the constructs of Fear versus Will. So taking a look at the constructs of Fear, all the constructs that these figures come with, accessories from earlier characters. Nothing original, which is really disappointing. The first one we'll take a look at really isn't necessarily a ring construct, except that it is a yellow mace from Hawkman. And it is done in a translucent yellow, but the top of the mace is just so large that it's kind of opaque considering how much translucent plastic is there. It is translucent. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but because there's so much of it up at the top, yeah, you can't really tell. It doesn't really help. And that just kind of goes in like so. So, you know, take it for what it is. It's a yellow weapon for Sinestro. Now another problem that having the smaller Sinestro does is that these other constructs, you can see, have the spot for the hands to kind of wedge in, and Sinestro's hand is so much smaller that it doesn't really wedge in there. It's more the clip around the wrist that kind of holds it in place. But I will say that the pickaxe actually does fit pretty well considering how it's held on, or the fact that it is held on this way. So if there is one construct that I would pose him with, even though it makes him kind of heavy, it would probably be the pickaxe. Even though, again, it does make him rather unbalanced. The last one is the wrench, which I believe came with steel. Has the open and close mechanism to it. And I wasn't that impressed with this accessory when it came with steel. It doesn't have the same kind of clip around the wrist that the pickaxe does. So, you know, I'm really disappointed there was nothing more original that would have come from these characters. You know, I think that even if they were to use a pre-existing construct for Sinestro, I wouldn't have minded seeing the machine gun that came with John Stewart. That would have been a good one to do. I mean, we got it again just for Hal Jordan, or even maybe a sword and shield combination for him and for Hal, so they could really have kind of done the dual sort of thing. As it stands, I mean, even a generic ray blast, just a blast of energy, would have been kind of cool for these characters. But in this case, they just kind of resculpted these accessories from other characters. You know, whatever you might think, I'm just happy to have this Sinestro because I can actually now have on display all three Sinestros in their various costumes. That's cool. But don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a look at a actually very surprisingly different Hal Jordan. Alright, moving on to the Hal Jordan figure. The more surprisingly pleasant, or pleasantly surprising of the two figures. One thing you probably notice right out of the box, or even in the box, he's a much shinier Hal Jordan. Now, the green shine, the metallic green, nothing new for a Toys R Us exclusive. The All-Star series had the Toys R Us exclusive in his modern day costume. Still my favorite Hal Jordan so far, but this one does come in a very close second, because beyond just the green, which you can see he's actually back in his trunks now, they used a very high gloss finish over the rest of him, so that his black color, which is, you know, very deep black, has a very strong shine to it, which is actually a very nice contrast. Even his gloves have a little bit of a glow to them, which I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but it's actually really cool. So as far as paint goes, I love what they did on the paint with this one. I do wish he was in his more modern day costume. You know, the trunks are fine. It's very iconic Hal Jordan, but you know, when it comes to the Toys R Us metallic deco, I do wish they had put him in his modern costume. But when you take a look at the face, one of the other things that you're going to notice is that they did paint his eyes in. Which, let me go ahead and, while we're talking about him, let me bring in the All-Star Toys R Us version and let you take a look. When you see him with just his regular face with the white, the mask comes off looking a bit small. It looks small on his face. It's not bad, but it's just something that it's not quite right. You know, and it would be really nitpicking to make an issue out of it. But put in here, or looking here at the Hal Jordan with his eyes painted, it just does something to the mask. It gives it a whole different kind of look. It's actually very, very cool. And one of the other things that it does, to me at least, is it brings back memories of these super friends of Hal Jordan with his eyes in his mask. You know, Batman didn't have it; it was just white. Robin had just white. But for Hal Jordan, I always remember Hal Jordan used to be able to see his eyes. So this style in his trunks with the painted eyes, completely 70s, total 70s to me. To even reinforce that a bit more, if you take a look at the Green Lantern symbol, you can see it is more of a kind of old school 70s Green Lantern symbol. So, you know, it makes sense that that with the Silver Age comic that they were trying to pay tribute to on the box, that the figure kind of mimics that time. That's more in line with that decade. That was a surprise. I did not realize how much effort they put just by changing the symbol and then painting the eyes in. You know, that it really kind of captures that feel to me. Other than that, also on the head, I want to comment the hair. It looks really, really nice. I think they got just the right balance of brown over the black to give it some layers and make it look very nice. Everything else, very typical Hal Jordan. You know, nothing real new, nothing real different. Just a regular body with the ring. The articulation on the head does go left and right, up and down. And Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, for all the different DC Universe characters that have come and gone, all the different sculpts that have come and gone, we still get the up and down head. That's just cool. It's Hal Jordan of all characters. Arm comes up, out, twist of the bicep, elbow, wrist, crunch the waist, twist, kind of a loose twist too. Leg comes up and out, bend at the thigh, knee, and foot. So nice addition for Green Lantern fans. Nice addition. The only disappointment goes back to what I was saying before, as far as the constructs are all reused constructs. We've got the machine gun from John Stewart, which, you know, I'm really kind of hesitant to put on him because it rubs up against the plastic. I guess I'll do it one time. If I can get that on, there you go. You know, not really what I would consider to be the, I mean, maybe after I see the movie and see him do it in the movie, but not the construct I most closely associate with Hal Jordan. They did go ahead and get us the saw blade, which I think was from gold. I think he was. It's actually a very cool construct. And it fits on real well, you know, just like the way it should. And then just from steel again, there is his ball and chain. Which the ball and chain from steel wasn't all that impressive to begin with, neither was his wrench. So, you know, having these accessories for Hal, I mean, it's nice to have more constructs to be able to play with, or display with, or both. But I would have liked to have seen something more original. Or, you know, if we're going to get the machine gun from John Stewart, I would rather have them given him the big fist, because that is the one that I think goes with Hal Jordan the most. You know, if you're a Green Lantern fan, you've got that fist from John, but still putting it in with a Hal Jordan, especially against Sinestro, that would have fit better, I think, than the machine gun did. And again, something original, a sword and shield, so that, you know, he can duel with Sinestro. You know, something completely original would have been nice. Such as it is, It was a Toys R Us exclusive. They weren't going to do a whole lot new, but a little tip would have been kind of nice. One thing I do want to bring in, set these aside for a sec, and bring Sinestro in. Is the final accessory, which is the half and half lantern. Actually very cool. In the pack I wasn't sure if it was just painted one half one color and one half the other, but no, actually when you take a look at it you can see that in fact it is two separate molded pieces with a green handle. So, you know, again, kind of paying tribute to the comic that it was based off of, the comic cover. This is actually pretty cool. It would have been kind of nicer is if along with it, again, we've gotten a full green lantern, which we have plenty of already, but also a full yellow lantern as well, which would have been something kind of new. So a full green and a full yellow lantern, and then this one that would have been kind of a split between them. Great idea for, or what I would think would be a great idea as an accessory for the two of them, or one accessory each and then one that's just kind of split down the middle. But that's taking a look at the constructs of Will vs. Fear 2-pack, Toys R Us exclusive. Highly recommend getting it if you can find it, not only for getting another Sinestro if you didn't get the original release, but also for the Hal Jordan, because as I pointed out, very different from the Hal Jordans we got so far, or different enough that, you know, he'll definitely have his place on your shelf. Gonna go see the movie later this weekend, you know, let you know what I thought of it. But for now, rate, comment, subscribe, join the revolution. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.